So here it is. Welcome to 2021. Happy New Year. And what a morning it is. We're out. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Someone just texted me who said, you were banging on about this back in 1987. So yeah, it's been my life's work is to get us out of the European Union. It's happened. Yeah, I know it's not perfect. Not great for Northern Ireland, not great for fisheries. And we'll have to go on campaigning to get those things to be where they need to be. But overall, it is for me personally a moment of very great joy. I think our standing in the world will go up as a result of this. Already we're seeing trade deals being signed all over the place. So there's reason in terms of Britain's place in the world to be very, very optimistic about today. And I'm certain that in 5 years' time, we'll see how we've done compared to France, Germany and Italy. And we'll say to ourselves, why didn't we do it sooner? And the funny thing is, so many of those things that I said over the years that I was utterly demonized for have now become mainstream. We're not the cranks anymore. We're not the gadflies. We're not the swivel-eyed loons. We're not the fruitcakes. No, that's Lord Adonis, who thinks we should rejoin and perhaps join the euro. Well, don't worry, because it isn't going to happen. So it is a moment to celebrate. The only problem we've got, I suppose, is that even though there is now a coming together around Brexit, and by the way, wasn't it good news to see the president of the CBI, Lord Billamora, who'd been completely opposed to Brexit, now saying we've got changed circumstances, new opportunities, and let's make the best of it. Now, the problem we've got is a very low-grade government, some of the worst cabinet ministers I've ever seen in my life. And think about how testing for COVID was messed up to begin with, despite all the promises. Think about this world-class test and trace system, which has cost 22 billion quid and still doesn't really work properly. And my worry really is, how are this mob going to effectively get the vaccine out around the country? I suspect they'll make a bit of a mess of it. So the slight note of pessimism today is I guess we're going to be in lockdown effectively until well past Easter. But by the end of this year, it will have moved on. By the end of this year, there'll be some, I think, degree of normality. Now, a lot of people are asking me, what next? What do you do next, Nigel, now that your life's work is done? Well, I'll tell you what the next big challenge is. And in some ways, it's an even bigger challenge than the European Union was, a bigger threat to our independence, our way of life, our liberty, and it is China. Those scenes last night, as police officers went around London to make sure nobody got over the fence to celebrate in Trafalgar Square, street parties in Wuhan. But China are doing their absolute best to take over the world. They're throttling democracy in Hong Kong, and they'll do their best to do it elsewhere. They've taken over many of the resources in Africa. This Chinese Communist Party pose a massive threat to the world, a threat to our freedoms, a threat to our way of life. So my next campaign is to make sure people understand who China are, what the Chinese Communist Party is, what it's doing to its own people, what it wants to do to the rest of the world. We need to wake up to the threat that is posed by China. And 2021 begins my next campaign, and that is to make sure we are no longer dependent on China.